Welcome to my channel. I'm James T. I'm doing a little bit of archery today. I'm gonna get right with you as soon as I finish shooting these last two arrows. Meanwhile, check this out. All right, welcome back. Now, those that are interested, this is a Bear longbow. It's a Patriot. It's a signature bow by Byron Ferguson, one of the best longbow shooters you could ever find. 65-pound bow. My bow's name is Arwen from Lord of the Rings. Let me shoot these last two arrows and I get right with you. Chance to do this that often. One more. Okay. Not my best day, but not my worst. I'll show you how we did. Okay, there's my target. I was trying to hit the B right there, right in the center. Not a bad grouping, but hey, it's been a while. Anyway, thanks for bearing with me, and let's get on to the topic of the day. It's getting close. Sturgis or bust. I leave tomorrow morning between 3 and 4 a.m. trying to beat the heat. My first stop will be Vegas, just because. And I did a little archery segment at the beginning. I hope that didn't bother anyone. It was such a beautiful day and I don't get a chance to shoot that often, so I thought I'd take advantage of it. But today, I'm not going to talk about Sturgis particularly. Talk about the motorcycle, my 2006 Harley-Davidson Road Glide. I've been asked a couple of questions, such as the engine, transmission, the paint job. So I'm going to go through that today, and I'm going to talk about the modifications that I've made to the bike, and probably why I will not be buying a new motorcycle. All right, stick with me. I'll be back in a moment. All right, this is my 2006 Harley-Davidson Road Glide. And first things first, I am going to talk about the paint job. You see my dragon here? It's my idea. I did not paint it. I had someone do that for me. The actual paint scheme, the paint on the bike, is actually a Harley-Davidson paint job. They used to have a Harley-Davidson custom paint shop. I don't know if they still have that program, but they did. This is number 21 out of 100. I don't know if that shows up or not. Prior to this bike, most of my bikes were all solid. Either they were black or red or blue. Okay, I'm going to start at the front. What you're looking at here, these are headwinds LED lights. LED lights have been replaced for the turn signals. This is a Clockworks windshield, flare windshield. I love it. For years I rode with the stock windshield. It was good. I could see over it. I can see over this as well, and it stops just as much air. So I like that feature. Those are Kiriakin mirrors. I did not like the little skinny Harley mirrors with the everything you see is closer than it appears. I have Kiriakin hand grips. Coming around this way, I have the LA Choppers 8-inch handlebars. I have the Aquatic AV radio. I've added extra speakers. I don't know if you can see them that well. Let's see. Come around this way. You can see right there. I added speakers there. and I'm running 2 amplifiers, one for the speakers there and the other for the speakers on the bottom. This is a Solomon seat. It came with the backrest, which is why I don't turn my Tourmaster around the other way, so I can use it as a backrest, because I don't have to. Okay, now let's talk about the engine. This is an S&S T111 engine. Try to get this all in one fell swoop about the engine. Why an S&S engine, someone asked me. In 2013, I was returning from Sturgis. I was on Interstate 5, getting ready to get on Highway 152 to Los Banos in California, and my cam gear went out. My cam bearings went out in my Harley-Davidson 103 engine. That sucked. But I had a buddy who lived there, so I actually took the motorcycle to his house, and I let it stay there for a few weeks. I went back and picked it up. And I was originally going to buy another Harley engine, but they wanted, for an 88 cubic inch engine, they wanted something like $6.5 grand, $7 grand for it. And then for a 95 cubic inch engine, they wanted $8 grand. They would not give me a 103 because this motorcycle did not originally come with a 103. I would have to take the 105 and make it a 103. And the S&S engine was about $5,000 then. It's almost 6-7 years ago. $5,000 then. It was a good deal. And I think all considered, it was a good deal. I got a lot of power. I'm going to try to put down in the description the link to the dyno test I had on it at Performance Choppers. They did the dyno on it for me. She produced 136 horsepower and 131 foot-pounds of torque. Okay, now, one of my biggest changes is my transmission. This is a Baker. I don't know if that's going to show up. This is a Baker 6-speed. I'm excited about that. For years, I've only rode with the Harley-Davidson 5-speed. And once you start to approach 85, 90 miles an hour, you're approaching 4,000 RPMs. And that's meaning the engine's working really hard. Everything is S&S. The engine's S&S. The cams are S&S. The intake is S&S. The exhaust is S&S. So that's that. The front here, I have hog halters, calibers. I have hog halters, rotors. The rotors match my wheels, which are Renegade wheels on both the front and the rear, and they're 16 inches. And the thing about having the different wheels is that they're no longer 3 inches wide, they're 3.5 inches wide, so the tire looks a little wider than it did when it was stock. And let's see what else. That's essentially it. What you can't see right now is that I've also added the Custom Dynamics run, stop, turn signals on the saddlebags. Right now it's just dark because the bike isn't on. But I love that feature. It gives me more visibility. And it was a bear getting on too. Okay, that's basically it about the bike. Like I said, Sturgis or bust. Leaving here tomorrow morning between 4 and 5 a.m. I should be in Vegas before 9 if I don't hit any traffic. It's kind of hard to tell around here. Through the week, we'll see what happens. Anyway, that's going to be it today. Like I said, it's going to be a short video. Had those questions about my bike. I won't buy a new one. I got too much invested here. But it really runs good. I don't have a lot of amenities. No anti-lock or braking system like anti-skid or anything like that. So, but This is what I will be writing to Sturgis. And on that note, I will see you guys and you gals in Sturgis. Take care. Keep the rubber side down, the sunny side up. Stay well. Ride safe. Later.